कर दो. Good evening, everyone. So, let us start our Agrawal class. 2 days could not because of some emergency reasons. Let's quickly go and start our aphorism we were discussing. That was Aphorism 22. So far, we completed regarding knowledge of power of medicine. And from the last class, we started with Aphorism 22, which was talking about the therapeutic law. So, how this therapeutic law evolved, this is the discussion now will be going on. And whatever the discussion is regarding the therapeutic law, it's all for the conceptual understanding. It is all for the conceptual knowing. That is, when you say conceptual, means knowing the deep underlying principles behind. Like, for example, before Newton, everyone knew that whatever is going up comes down. But then it was the acumen of the observation of the Newton. He could really see the underlying principle, that is gravitational. Similarly, in the art of medicine, what should be the underlying principle, therapeutic principle? This is what Hahnemann came to know. He is writing with its evolution. If we simply understand Aphorism 22 and its footnote, he only meant that when we know regarding the conceptual understanding of the disease, that it is a dynamic disease, derangement of the vital force, but then now it is very clear to every physician it is to be understood only by morbid signs and symptoms. Similarly, when you know the conceptual part of the knowledge of power of medicine, that also is quite clear that knowing that what kind of derangement, what kind of means in the form of signs and symptoms, morbid signs and symptoms, what kind of derangement it is causing and expressing in the signs and symptoms. When you know this, you are to apply the second on the first knowledge of power of medicine to the disease. It is the experience which will prove, which is completely rooting out the morbid signs and symptoms of the disease. And experience will tell that which, either similia or contraria, which one is going to produce the lasting effect, removal of all the signs and symptoms, at the same time removal of the disease in its dynamic state completely. But so far, Hahnemann said, I know there are two these methods, law of similia and law of contraria. These are the two well-known, easily comprehensible therapeutic principles. And in the footnote, he referred about the allopathy, and this is how he made it very clear what is what. But then This is what is his evolution. Those who have really uh, listened me, talked about, discussed about the uh, author's preface and author's introduction to the organ of medicine, you will come to know that it is quite a long, many years time taken for this evolution. This aphorism is not just English. It has lot of evolution. We may feel it is so easy to write down. There are two laws. But then in the last 2500 years, how many of them, how many of the physicians have talked about one or both the laws? A very few. Some known, he told in the last page of author's introduction. They talked about similia and they were practitioner of opposites without knowing. So, and the principle of aloia, that is heteropathy, that is allopathy, which was in the practice, rampant practice throughout, is much discussed already in the author's introduction, and he has given here in the footnote some of its understanding again. So, to properly understand this aphorism 22, if you just read this aphorism, what are you going to find out? You are going to find out that this aphorism is basically into two sentences. But then look for semicolon in the first sentence where the semicolon is coming. Look for certain words. I just you see in the aphorism, likewise, on the other hand, that is to say, to wit, wherever you are finding these words to us.